My name is Philip Beekman. I'm the Public Affairs Chief here at the U.S. Embassy in Belgrade, Serbia. So it's a good question. Why does the U.S. government invest money in exchange programs? And really, our exchange programs are focused on building peaceful, friendly relations between people from the United States and other countries. As of this year, I think we've had over 1 million people participate in exchange programs between the United States and other countries. And what's the goal? Why? So ultimately what we're trying to do is create opportunities for people to get to know each other and to better understand each other. Your beliefs can be very strong, but when you meet someone and actually get to know them and get to know their family and understand how they live, that you can connect with them. And when people are better connected, better understand each other, we're better able to address challenges together. So there's a long and celebrated history of U.S. government-sponsored exchanges here. As early as the 1960s, a Fulbright program was established between the United States and Yugoslavia. And in the past 20 years, since we restarted exchanges, over 2,500 Serbians have traveled to the United States on official U.S. government-sponsored exchange programs. The folks who've gone to the U.S., it's an incredibly diverse group. High school kids, university students, scholars, cultural workers, and on and on. And so I think that it shows the breadth and depth of our exchanges between the United States and Serbia really shows the breadth and depth of our relationship in a positive way. Our biggest exchange program is our Flex program focused on high school students. It's a wonderful program that is always inspiring because there's nothing like talking to young people who are full of energy and motivation and excitement about doing something crazy and living in a different country for an entire year with somebody else's family. I have to say, I am always impressed by how brave the high school exchange participants are in particular. They're not adults and they take this kind of leap of faith, thinking and knowing in their hearts that it's going to be an amazing experience. And when they return, it's always fabulous to talk to them and hear about it, because you know on an individual level, their life has somehow changed and it's richer because of that experience. And you hope that over the long run, it has a positive effect on whatever they decide to do, whether it's study more or go into public service or the private sector or whatever. So it's an incredibly great opportunity to be working on exchange programs at the embassy, and one that I'm really honored to be part of. I think our exchanges are really special because they kind of push off all of the preconceived notions about the United States and allow our exchange participants to get to know Americans one-on-one and to get to know the rich diversity of our country. The United States is a huge country that is deeply diverse in terms of the people who live there, the food we eat, the geography of the landscape, our political views, frankly, in everything. We don't just talk about this diversity, but we actually want to show that diversity, and we want to make sure that our exchanges literally are inclusive of that diversity. Our programs are open to everyone, and they're deeply representative. Whatever gender you are, whatever your race or national origin, whether you're a person with disabilities or not. And I think building that into our exchange programs is a really powerful statement about the value of diversity and respect for diversity. So what do Americans get out of these exchanges? Well, I should say first, many of our exchange programs are two-way exchanges, and so they're premised on the idea that it is a wonderful thing to bring non-Americans, to bring foreigners to the United States, but then also the State Department supports a lot of different programs which take Americans overseas to help give Americans a more international perspective and to better understand the world. The United States is a big country. Many people live their entire lives without leaving its borders. In fact, many people live their entire lives without leaving their small state. I grew up in a family in Michigan. My father was a factory worker, worked a car factory, pretty typical in Michigan. No one in my family had a passport. I'd never been outside of the U.S. When I was in university, I started studying international relations, and there was an opportunity to do a summer exchange program, and I took that opportunity. I traveled to Hungary and the Czech Republic, and it was life-changing. And that's what set me on a path to wanting to work in diplomacy and wanting to live and work in other countries. I think our exchange programs and the folks who participate in them bring a huge amount when they come to the United States, because just as much as they are learning about the U.S., we are learning about other countries. So just as much as Serbian high school kids are having that kind of amazing American high school experience that one thinks about in like television or movies, they're also living with American families and teaching them all about wonderful Serbian customs and habits and holidays and food and things like that. So the exchanges, they're two-way, and that's a really important aspect of it. So I think one of the most important benefits for people who take part in exchange programs is not what you would expect. You sign up and you think that you're going to learn a lot about the place that you're going, but actually you also learn a tremendous amount about yourself. And I think that that's something that is kind of typically unexpected, but of incredible value. When you are taken out of your culture, out of your society, you have a much better sense of where you come from, what's unique about that, what's different. I mean, I remember as a university student, for the first time traveling outside of the United States, and returned from that experience with a much stronger sense of sort of what we were getting right and what we were getting wrong, what the United States does that's really different than the rest of the world. So you take yourself out of the culture that you grew up in, and you have a much better understanding of that culture when you're looking at it externally. I think that's a unique and interesting and perhaps one might say unexpected benefit of participating in exchange programs. I think my advice for a future exchange participant would be always keep an open mind and see what you like, and you might be really quite surprised by how you feel at the end of your exchange.